Okay.
Can you pull the
Yeah.
agenda? Thanks, Jeff. Good evening. Today is the 23rd of July, 2026. This is the regular meeting of the Rockport Planning Board. It is 6:02. I'm calling the meeting to order with a quorum tonight of members. The Rockport Planning Board consists of up to 7 Rockport resident volunteers appointed by the Select Board to review land use applications, changes to zoning, and conduct other duties prescribed by the town and state. Okay, so we have a pretty light agenda. Item 4 was placed on the agenda and then immediately withdrawn, so just for the sake that it was placed there, it's for record, but I don't think anything has ever been submitted to us to review for that, so I think it would have saved everyone time. So all we really have on the agenda are 2 items: to approve last month's minutes and to review any changes that we'd like to recommend to the Select Board on the land use ordinance. So first of all, I ask if there are any public comments on non-agenda items. I will note that there's no one in the audience right now, so open that and close that at the same time. Can we open the minutes for the June 25 meeting? Okay, and so these are the minutes for last month's meeting where we primarily reviewed an application for parcel on Cross Street. There will be forthcoming findings of facts and conclusions of law records to the same effect. Is there anything about reviewing these minutes that precludes, if we make any changes? You okay, Jan?
No.
No, I just wanted to enlarge it.
Okay, that would
No.
affect our review of the
No.
finding of facts?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
No.
Have folks had a chance to review these minutes and have made any changes or comments that they'd like to, and that they might like to review on these minutes? Nothing to review?
Just gonna scroll through them for the
Sure.
recording.
You're the minutes guy. What'd you think?
Jeff, Jan, Tom.
You always read the minutes carefully.
Oh, yeah. Well, buses was spelled wrong.
Okay. Just want to make sure
Did you fix that?
It's buses with 2 S's means a kiss.
Really? I thought that you could spell it either way.
You can.
They mean,
Buses mean
No, but
kisses.
no, with the same meaning.
Well, buses means kisses.
Okay. But it looks funny, because, I mean, abuses looks funny. Carter, you weren't at that meeting,
Yeah,
right?
abstaining.
Okay. So having scrolled through this, would anyone like to offer a motion to approve the minutes as noted?
Also move.
Thank you, Jan. Seconded by Tom. Any further discussion? All those in favor? 4-0, 1 abstention. Thank you.
And it had an allusion to me in the minutes about mentioning.
Mentioning, yeah.
And I just want to say that Renetta does a terrific job on this minute.
Well,
She really does.
You're kind of like just adding another layer to this, because now she's going to have to mention that you mentioned.
She doesn't have to put that in the
Just keep
minutes.
telling every meeting.
she's going
That was-
So next meetings, we can mention.
That's right.
That was off the record.
If we weren't also reviewing land use ordinance, I've mentioned this before, like we would actually have to have a meeting to approve the meeting where we approved notes from a meeting.
Yep.
So if we have a meeting, we have to have notes and we have to approve those notes in the next meeting. So we would have a meeting where we only just approve notes, and we could just keep going forever, just approving
Yeah.
notes.
Robert's rules need amending.
That's right. So I'm glad we have something else to add to the minutes for next time. So, yeah, we're skipping the withdrawn. We're moving on to other business land use ordinance amendments. I'll note for anybody who's watching this on YouTube later in the future, perhaps, there was a workshop prior to this meeting that will also be available on YouTube at some point. And if if you want to understand where we're coming from on these land use ordinance amendments, there was some discussion prior to this in that workshop. Okay. Where to begin? So, would anyone like to offer a place to begin?
Yeah, Leclerc recommendations.
Declare recommendations? Okay, I think you already had that open, Orion, if you.
I do.
Where are those?
They're in the
In the
sheriff's
workshop
place.
packet or in the
Yeah,
workshop?
Yep.
it's in the workshop.
Okay, so the first one was to change table 918 such that all zones have a maximum building height of 42 feet, and to simultaneously remove the note at the bottom of the table regarding building heights and roof pitches. The stuff that's written above there is just kind of like the why. So this is my proposal, is to basically just eliminate this stuff that we had to review, that everyone's got familiar with. The lack of clarity on what's in the table says 34 feet. But if you go to the note, it says for buildings that have a roof pitch greater than 512, the maximum building height is 42 feet. So that has vexed at least one applicant, and I think it vexed us all when we were trying to review it. I think it's partially because of the wording that buildings which have a 512 roof slope or greater can have a 42. It was like, well, does it specify where that 512 roof is? Could it just be attached to the side and be tiny? It has it, so it's like, well, then I can go up to 42 if I just add this little low slope roof. I mean, greater slope roof. But also, I think what we're trying to do is confront the need for greater density of housing. And so adding that height at 42 feet town-wide clarifies it, but it also allows for greater density. So
Could
that's
you build a 4-story flat roofed building at 42 feet height?
Could you?
Could you? Like, it's architecturally, building-wise, you could, right? So that would that allow up to 4 stories for residential housing? And is that what we want? That's the question.
I think we need to look at the roof pitch or whatever, wherever that is.
We can
in the
build a flat
ordinance.
roof.
You can build a flat roof.
Yeah.
Um,
So, so my take on this was just, I think it's interesting, the way the language was before, I think it's more of a language question
Yeah.
previously, in the sense that it was, like you said, like, there's a pitch here, and has it set it? But ultimately, I think the ultimate goal of it was to say, this is the size, maximum height houses we want in our residential districts, right? And so, by saying 42, keeping it really simple, it is going to create a bigger, possibly much bigger housing, you know, say next door here, or this is different because this is commercial, but, you know, and is that what are we okay with that? Would be my question.
Technically, that would have already been allowed.
4-story.
Well, 42
If
feet.
with the, somewhere in the building has a more than 512 pitch.
Right.
Right.
So technically, that was already allowed.
Right. So I guess if we're rewriting language, then the question for us is, is that what we want? What was already allowed? Is that still what?
Right.
Right.
So I think, maybe I have to speak closer. I think what we heard in our workshop, not this time, but the last time, and we kind of summarized here, I know in particular, both Elias from Rockland and, I can't remember, Steve from Brattleboro, pointed to that as a thing you could easily do. And I think they may have even had 45 feet as their maximum height. I felt it may be simpler just to keep it at 42 because it's already at 42. So I didn't feel like we should push it up, I guess. Whether it's what we want or not, like I tend to think we do. I tend to think we want to allow for 3-story, 4-story might be pushing it. Like 4-story, like it's kind of tough to get at 42 feet based on our height of building definition, which is the average of the pre-existing grade. So you would have had to have like a dead flat lot
Right.
and go up 42 feet from that average, which would be 0, to get 42 and have 4 stories. Like that's tough.
Unless you entered the house entered the building by walking down 2 steps.
Yeah.
If a story is half below grade.
Or you
Yeah.
built to absolute minimums in terms of the
Ceiling heights.
ceiling heights and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you make the 4th story shorter and it's a storage area,
Mhm.
Yeah.
or it's an equipment
No,
area.
I only bring it up just in thinking about one of the questions that came up in that previous one was why do we have a residential height lower than we have a school and commercial height?
Mm.
Was one of the questions, right? Like, why is that lower? Well, and in thinking about it, the answer is because in residential areas, we don't want to build towering neighbors over somebody, right? And so thinking about that sort of balance of goals, right? You know, I don't think I have an answer to this question. But I think that's the question to us, right?
I guess that's part of the give and take, is if you want more housing, then you need to allow more
Right.
housing, like more.
Right.
And I can see that if we were proposing to push this up to like 48 feet, which is clearly a 4-story building, then it's more provocative. My take was that this is cleaning up the language and still allowing the same thing that we've already interpreted to exist. So it already exists, the 42-foot maximum. The table lists 34, but that's not really the full story and never has been the full story. So it doesn't change what's allowed, it really just clarifies it and makes it easier for developers to understand, like, do I have to do something sketchy to get this allowed? Do I have to add a little dormer or something, or a little wing to make it pass? I mean, we could go the other way and say that 512 or greater slope roof needs to be what exists above 34 to 42.
Right.
But I think then we're pushing against what the task was, which was to increase
Yeah, I
housing.
think for me, I read the original rules, like if you want a steeper pitch roof, that 42 allowed you to get up there to
Yeah.
that steeper pitch. And so even if it wasn't written exactly and it had a loophole in it kind of thing, but with that said, like, you know, if, you know, thinking about neighborhoods or neighbors, does this work? I don't have a clear answer to that. I think that our setbacks and all that sort of stuff probably handle all that kind of towering neighbor issue, right?
Yeah.
Is there a significant cost savings in doing a flat roof?
Usually not cheaper.
Yeah.
There's more work that you have to do in terms of load bearing and stuff, but less area, I don't know, it's probably a wash.
Yeah.
I think that it's a calculation that a developer who wants to maximize
For,
a footprint
yeah,
to build more high.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm for it. The only thing that I'm ever concerned with is, can the fire department deal with it?
Yeah.
And they can, because they deal with 50-foot buildings.
Right.
On the resort section.
Commercial and.
I mean, we can bring the fire chief into this discussion and say, well, is this okay? Do we have a
Well,
ladder that can?
we've already approved, we already have,
It already exists.
we already exist in some
Yeah.
areas,
Yeah.
so we, obviously the fire.
Yeah, and I've talked with our
Yeah.
fire chief to figure out what is the maximum height, and because of neighboring fire trucks that have the ladder, we don't really have that. And then building code with sprinkler systems, we don't
Right.
have an issue.
That's the other control, is building code,
Yep.
so.
Right. Yeah.
So,
And so
From-
if you have a 4-story building and that many units, if you're doing that way, you'd be under that, like sprinklers and stuff.
You'd be
Yeah.
fully sprinkled. yeah.
oh yeah.
Do you want a motion?
We can do this one by one, or we can do this like just
Right.
at the end.
Okay, let's do it at the end.
Okay. The second one I had on my list was parking. So I actually flagged that there's no change required here because there's this sneaky little line in section 803(1)H that allows the planning board or CEO to adjust the parking minimum quantities. Like, it just basically allows us to eliminate it, or Andrew to eliminate it, if he feels that there's sufficient quantity.
I'm a little confused about that part though.
Yeah.
Jeff, because you mentioned that on the 212 units that we recently approved, but we never discussed parking, so I don't, you know, we never voted on parking, so I don't even know where we stand on that, but I didn't want to. My concern has always been that you can't come in after the fact and build parking, you know, and I designed a lot of doctors' offices, and they never waited in the waiting room in their life. So, you know, I try to argue, we need more chairs in this waiting room. And they said, no, we need another exam room. And then there'd be people out the hall, and it's too late to build a waiting room.
Yeah.
So I sort of like what we did on Route 1, where we said, okay, you don't have to pave it, but we want to allow, you know, potential square footage
Right.
to put paved parking if it becomes necessary, especially that one on Route 1, because it was kind of a area if you had a Super Bowl game, everybody be hanging out on Route 1 and parking their cars. So, again, you know, whatever the board's take on it, but that's always been my concern, is because it's all well and good for a developer to tell us, well, you don't need that parking. But then if it turns out it's a very popular place, and maybe they even have a pool, or, you know, so now they have their cousins over or something, and they're gonna be parking on 90, where are they gonna be parking? So I understand the cost factor. My idea is to compromise that, okay, we want the, you know, whatever the bylaw is for this building, but no, you know, we don't feel you have to pave all those, whatever we decide. So that's always been my argument, because you're not gonna go back after the fact and say, by the way, the neighbors are all complaining, you know, you're on the street, you're gonna,
Yeah.
well, it's already been approved, there's no place to put the parking. So I was concerned because, and again, it was a long night, we never, and maybe the vote would have been there, I never really understood what was gonna happen for the parking, because you said it, in theory, it's up to the discretion, but I don't know if we ever really addressed it, you know. So when it comes to a future thing, how do we address it? Do we vote on it? Do we put it in the plan? I mean, what do we do if we're going to waive the existing requirement? How does that become part of the plan that gets approved? What
Yeah,
findings of fact? What happens in a case like that?
I mean, those are great points. The discovery that I had made just prior to the last approval that we had of the Cross Street project was that existed, and so it wasn't as though they needed to seek a waiver from us from that requirement. We didn't need to waive anything. We just needed to use our discretion at the required number of parking spaces. And so in that case, and I think with the Birches on Route 1, what you all, I wasn't part of it, but what you all used was that, yeah, it feels like a reasonable thing, like you said, to provide this many spaces and provide the ability for other spaces. So we'll trust you that your rental needs are X paved spaces, and that's all we're gonna require of you. And the same thing for Cross Street, we said, you control the land, you control your renters, how many cars they can have, it's your land. We're gonna go by what you've experienced and what kind of expertise you bring, rather than what's in the ordinance, because you know your renters better than we do. That number in there is really to make sure the situations like you experienced in doctor's offices didn't happen. I think that's why I'm recommending perhaps we don't change a thing, is that there's a number that exists if you're a developer and you need to know, how many spaces do I need to provide to adequately suit this? You know, I don't know what it's gonna be. Like, I don't know, maybe it's a spec office building. I don't know how many cars they need. There's something in the table that tells you how many that the planning board would approve. But it gives some ability to reduce it, because again, one of the things we heard at the workshop was reducing the amount of paved area was in the interest of the development success, so that we didn't have, like I cited an example in Belfast, they did affordable housing and they have twice as much paving as they ever need. They never fill up that parking lot. And so I don't think we need to necessarily revisit all the numbers and say, actually make it, like I think you pointed out, make it 1.5 per 3 units or something.
Something like that, yeah.
And like, I don't know if we even need to do that, because we can do it on a case-by-case basis per our current ordinance.
We could say something like, 2 spaces per dwelling unit, but only 3/4 of the spaces need to be paved.
Or what if we just ask them to propose to us? Is there a way to sort of language that? So they just say, so part of the application is, what about parking? And then they propose to us, and so that, or planning board, so that way there can be a consensus amongst the developer and or builder and the planning board that sounds good, right?
The problem with that is that there is no rule. And so one developer would
Right.
say you were
Maybe
in
there's a
favor of the
maybe
other
there's a
developer,
guidance.
and you're punishing me, and it's not rational,
Right.
it's not
Yeah.
fair.
Maybe there's just a guidance to it, like there's this number, and maybe this already does that.
Yeah.
Right. There's this number, but you can ask to change it, and maybe that's just the simple.
Doesn't G already do that?
Right.
Well, what Jeff was pointing out too, which is, to clarify, which is helpful, technically, because of what Jeff found with this verbiage, they're not really requesting a waiver. That's what you,
Right.
that's
Right.
the clarification.
Right. At first, I think even they thought they needed a waiver.
Sure.
Because you look at the section and it's like, big table, numbers, there are the numbers, I guess that's what I gotta do. And then you read down and it's like, or if the planning board says you don't need it. It's like, oh, well, maybe I'll ask for that then.
So maybe the big table has, this is the recommended numbers.
Yeah.
And then followed by, planning board
A note.
approval or
Yeah.
something.
That's a good idea. If you put G closer to the table, they would
Right.
see that this is not hard and fast,
Right,
that there is some wiggle room.
right.
And
It's
again,
almost-
I think they think in terms of pavement,
Yeah, I think.
and that's, dollar signs.
Paved spaces.
And,
Yeah.
I'm not married to pavement. I'm
Yeah.
just married to some available square footage, should the need arise.
Well, that's what I say, maybe you only make it a certain requirement of paved.
And that developer might know their needs, but it doesn't mean every single developer coming in front of us will actually know their needs.
Yeah.
Do we really, could we not require paved parking at all?
Yeah.
Leave it up to the developer? You could walk crushed gravel?
As long as
You're
there's
willing to-
space
you're
for
willing
it.
to shovel crushed gravel?
As long as there's space for it, is what you're suggesting,
yeah.
right? Right.
Yeah,
Well,
Well, I mean.
that would probably rely on the fire department and the police department as well, I would think, how much pavement they want near a building or whatever. I don't really.
Yeah, I mean,
get that.
access is a different thing. Access
Yeah.
for fire trucks is a different matter. Often it goes hand in hand with parking lots. But, I mean, I think the current sort of discussion in the planning community, and Ryan, maybe you could shed some light on this, is that, like, allowing developers to provide their own requirement for parking is the way that towns are going.
Yeah.
Like, I think Rockland was one that was mentioned, that, like, they got rid of their parking requirement altogether. Like, they have no minimum number of parking spaces
Correct.
in the city.
So, I mean, parking it was like the first thing introduced. I remember when I first started studying planning and development. It's one of the headaches. Who knows what is the correct amount? The market is gonna say one thing, the town's gonna say another. You can have a formula that says something completely different, so. To your point, yeah, it's kinda hard to go back, but it's not. If there's an issue, if there's like an onslaught of parking that's on the road, well, we have at our discretion to penalize. We can cite a violation that you need to solve this problem. So they'd have to then go back, provide the parking needed for their use. We can do that. If their lot doesn't allow it, they're gonna have to find another place to put parking for their usage, because they cannot just take up the whole road in parking.
well, we had that with the hotel downtown,
Yeah, I know, and that doesn't get used.
and doesn't get used.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it's
there's
so far,
that
there's no
for the
problem.
example. If you, and this is predates you, but that hotel has a satellite parking on Route 1 that does not get used
Right.
at all for
Where's
any
that Route
parking.
1?
You know where Guinea Ridge is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right north of it, that little dirt parking lot.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's theirs.
Yeah, but let me tell you, I tried to just even enter that parking lot behind the hotel. Someone advised me to do it. I got stuck. There's not even a place to turn around.
Yeah,
Once you
right.
go,
You backing up.
you're in deep turkey feathers.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a specific item, but,
But I think,
Jeff,
I thi- I-
your
I agree with-
recommendation makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
just
yeah, I think where
leave
it's
it
at,
as.
but maybe just it might just be a graphic design.
Well, is that something,
exercise.
Orion, that like, are people under the misinterpretation that they don't see that note either?
so when I talk to them, any developer, I make a comment that you can request a waiver for certain things, parking is one of them. And it's based upon what that note is. That note suggests y'all have the authority to, so.
Right.
I make a recommendation that they do a waiver. That's just covering bases,
Yeah, yeah,
really.
yeah.
Whether it is or not, it's really for y'all to decide. But the request is for you, because it gives you the authority to work with the developer. And I think that's smart. And then by having that table, if you think, no, you're gonna need all that parking based on what we see, you have then that to fall back on.
Right.
So-
Is there any world where or any application where we could require more parking than is in that table?
You could, but you would need a serious case.
Yeah, okay.
And that
So-
would be like, you're concerned, you're gonna need an attorney or like an engineer hired to look at this. And we've not had a situation like that, but you do have that discretion to, like, if you got an issue with their traffic study or traffic report, you have then the authority to issue another one that the applicant has to pay for. And then whatever that results in, you can then use that to your, at your discretion for what needs to be.
Okay, so that'd be extreme circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I almost wanna see that table as like, this is what we can require you to do by right.
Yep.
It's like, this is by right what you can, at a minimum, provide.
Mhm.
If you want less, you need to have a discussion.
Propose, right?
Yeah.
And then the way it's already structured right now on the state, because the state does have some provisions, is like 1.5 spaces for a dwelling for affordable housing. This already covers that. And then any future state amendments, it already covers it.
Yeah,
They may come in strong and say, we're fine, we got this provision,
yeah.
okay. Or you can push back,
Yeah.
so.
Or we could just say, this is the most parking you would ever be required to have. And then let them judge it from there.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
I guess there's something in the ordinance that might need to change just to make it so, like, it's clearer. And I, like, would suggest, like, move that piece up to the top somewhere. Like, like Tom suggested, like, can that be closer to the table so that you read it?
I don't know.
Read the table as like, this is not a
You'd be
suggestion.
surprised at how detailed a lot of the people are when they read them.
Okay.
And they find some things, and they're interesting in how some developers interpret it. And I'm like, it's cute how you're interpreting that one, you know. So
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think it's they're not reading it, and if they're not reading it, I don't know if we. I mean, if you're not reading the ordinance, you're going to be in it. You're going to be
Yeah, okay.
up a creek pretty quick.
Also, does it satisfy, I think, what we talked about in the workshops and with the select board and EDC moments ago? Like, they were proposing the similar things, like eliminate your parking requirements.
Yep.
So does this
I think
satisfy
so.
that?
I think so, in my opinion, but
Yeah, because it's not, there's no requirement,
Right.
right? There's none. We just,
Well,
there's
it's up to
a, there's
us
a
and
guidance.
Code enforcement.
Yeah, there's a guidance in code enforcement, and if you propose something that makes perfect sense,
Mhm.
then that's great.
Does it, to what, you, Jan, saying, like, is it setting a precedent per project? Where it's like, well, you required of these people, you didn't require it of these people, but you're gonna require
Is
it of
that
me?
a legal question, or
Yeah,
is that?
a legal question? Where it's like,
that would be a legal question, and I think that just depends.
Maybe
I mean, you have
it's-
your comprehensive plan.
Maybe
Is the
that's part
project-
of the language change that goes in there, is that right here, you know, and that allows PBR to adjust minimum parking quantities per project or something.
mm,
You know, so that it sort of legally says
Right.
it is really per project, it's not just
it's
per.
not to establish it from here on
Right,
out.
right.
Yeah.
I think that's already covered in the overreaching review process, like site plan review. That's a per project thing.
Okay.
So everyone's always worried about setting a precedence. I don't. Because, you know, you got your comp plan, you got your vision, you got two separate areas, you got, you know, two different zones. I mean, if they're going side by side, then, you know, it kind of makes a little bit of sense. But if it's two separate ends of the town, two very different projects, two very different uses,
Yeah.
kind of a hard argument to say we did it for them.
Well, it's up to the applicant to reference it.
Yeah.
And say,
And that too.
hey, planning board, just so you know, it was 4 years ago, but you approved a project based on these numbers.
Yeah.
And we can say, well, there's something different about
Right.
your project, and therefore.
Yeah, they're not gonna sue us after the fact saying, you should have approved this because you approved fewer parking spaces
Right.
4 years ago. It's like, I don't remember what happened 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's up to the applicant.
Okay. Okay, all right, seems like we're done with that. So I made this point of bringing the short-term rental ordinance back to the select board
Mhm.
as a recommendation. I was speaking on my own behalf, but we had discussed it before. This is just my little argument, just to basically write why I'm proposing that. And it's essentially the same thing that I said in the workshop.
Yeah.
That it does not limit any property owner's right to continue using STR or make a new STR or anything. All it basically does is say the town will collect a fee to inspect it for health, safety, and you need to post a sign. It's everything we did in 2024. You need to post a sign that identifies for anyone staying there, if they have any issues, who they need to contact. The town will have a record that this is being used as a short-term rental, which is good for many safety reasons. And it also allows the town to understand if short-term rentals are an issue or not. Because I think the gum in the gears, at least for Camden and for a while for Rockport, was the issue is that people couldn't even come to a conclusion of if STRs were good or bad or were taking over or didn't exist or like nobody knows. I know, Orion, you've been able to compile with third-party companies some data, but I mean, I take that all with a grain of salt. Like, it's only as far as they can research what's out there. So I think we thought this was reasonable in 2024. I just think it's reasonable in 2026.
I think so also, and it apparently never got to the ballot.
You got to the ballot.
No. I'm sorry.
I voted on this.
Nope, no, you didn't.
No, this is
No, you
something.
didn't.
No, I didn't vote on this.
You didn't vote on
I
this.
voted about STRs.
You voted
Yes.
about the select
Yes.
board
Discussing it.
discussing
Yeah, and
STRs.
I voted that they should, and anyways, so I'm saying there was something about this that
Not
landed on the
this.
ballot.
So this was something in 2024 that Jan was a member, Tom was a member, I think
Right.
were the three only
Right.
ones. We recommended it to the select board. John worked on it as well. Bringing you into this.
Right. I was talking about topic, and you're talking about this.
This language. We recommended it. I don't remember how you voted, John, so don't. I won't hold you to that. You might have been in the
Planning board.
gap when you were just going to the select board.
Yeah.
Okay, so it went to the select board. The select board did not, they discussed whether they wanted to review it or not at the select board meeting, but they did not discuss the content of it. So in my mind, it's never been discussed.
I'd like to voice my 100% support, just on the very same reasons that you're talking about it, is it would be nice to know what's happening, right? Because I know that if you do an Airbnb search, you come up with a lot of rentals, and there's a lot of rentals that aren't even on Airbnb. And so to know really what's happening in our town, which is not very big, in terms of the housing crisis, it feels like a really important piece of it that we can't really, it's a sort of fuzzy, foggy zone that we don't even really know. And it feels like it's a big part of especially the village. And so it'd it'd be really nice to know what's happening.
I'm absolutely in favor of recommending this to the select board for a warrant article, but I would amend my recommendation by saying, we need a marketing plan for this. People need to be informed specifically about what this does and does not do. Don't just put it out there because the rumors will be rife.
Yeah.
And the first guy who talks is gonna say, oh, it's like they're counting guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sooner or later, they'll come and take them away from you.
I'll take that on. I mean, if we recommend that to the select board tonight, I will represent what we discussed
Yeah, good.
at the planning board meetings
Yeah.
and workshop before the select board, however many times you want to workshop it in the town, whenever you want to do it. Because it's not, in the end, it's not as controversial as people think it is.
No, people will add to it.
They'll add to it. and I
We
think
live in a
that's-
we live
that-
in a world of conspiracies.
And that's what, I mean, it's only 2.5 pages long, so
The thing that did end up on the ballot back in whenever that was,
21.
was somebody put together a campaign against it, and the only signs that were around the streets was vote no.
Yeah,
And there was no vote yes signs
Correct.
at all.
Right.
And so,
Right.
and then people wrote in, you know, this is an important part of our family income, and that was the end of that, right? And so we're not trying to take anybody's income, we're just trying to understand it. And I think also as a safety issue, it feels important that there's these little hotels all over the place that have no safety oversight.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he's just saying short-term rentals are essentially little hotels.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Because, well, I mean, we have to the hotels, we have a business license that looks at life safety.
Yeah.
So, you know,
And
in line
how
with it.
busy this past week has been up here. These people, a lot of them are staying in these places.
absolutely.
Sure.
could we offer that if you agree to be inspected, we will guarantee that you will not be taxed on the income from that for 10 years? No, okay.
How do we do that?
No.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but I liked what Jan's thinking, this idea of like, how do we get people so that they know taking part in this
Yeah.
will be for the positive?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
what is
I mean, I
that?
think set a fair fee schedule.
Right.
I think Camden actually reduced their fees after the first year.
Well, yeah, or what if you have to be inspected every 5 years, the first year you do it, it's free or something?
Well, that's what they've asked, and this is speaking with code enforcement in Camden. They've asked folks who are registered and inspected in the first year if they'd be willing to like stagger their next inspection. I mean, I think everyone would say yes.
Right.
So that they don't all come up for re-inspection at the same
yeah,
time.
Yeah. And sort of some incentive program.
Yeah, well, you don't want that happening anyway.
You don't want it happening, so you want it
No.
like on a roll. And
Absolutely.
You don't have to do it all at once.
Yeah.
It was cost neutral, according to Camden's planning office,
Got
that
it.
like it paid for, the fees did pay for the time of code enforcement. So, I mean, I think that's important for people to know, that it's not gonna come at a burden to everyone in town to pay for.
Too bad they couldn't sell the parking meters that way.
I know.
Cost neutral.
We get to know what we should and shouldn't do by what Camden has already tested
Yeah,
for us.
they're a good example in many ways.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I have a quick question about our definition of short-term rentals. Is it understood that a short-term rental is a business?
I don't know, I don't think so. I mean, by the general
Well,
public? I would
well,
say
I-
no.
I have a definition.
They have to pay taxes on the income off of their
It
short-term
would be,
rentals.
it would be to the state,
Well,
if
but
anything.
the actual word in our definition might not be the right one.
Well, we don't have a use for them right now. Remember, that was a part of this ordinance. We were gonna put short-term
Right.
rentals in the
That's the
use
little-
category.
It's like
which-
one little row to say they're allowed, they're permitted.
Yeah, which would then be included in what? I think it was in the commercial.
917 commercial land
Yeah.
use table.
No,
No.
we would add it to the commercial use
This
section.
proposal includes it.
Oh, okay. So, but right now, based on the definitions and any,
We just have a definition of what a short-term rental is.
Meaning in our current ordinance? or-
yeah.
Okay.
Currently.
But what does it have to do with? Is there any ordinance around it at all?
No,
But the definition is there?
the definition is there. So like, we've been making small incremental,
Right.
like, what is it? What is a short-term?
So
Like,
maybe
what-
that's part of the marketing.
Yep.
The
And
definition is there.
Just for clarity, this is a rental housing unit ordinance. It's not necessarily short-term.
Yep.
It applies to all rentals.
Yep. Yep.
Long-term, seasonal, and short-term.
where are you, Jeff?
This is the proposed I don't know if you have that, the proposed text. So
This is
it
in
begins
the
with,
Leclerc document.
yeah, it begins with the purpose of this section is to provide reasonable rules and requirements for the use of rental housing units, which includes long-term rentals, seasonal rentals, and short-term rentals. So this would apply to all rental housing units.
And we already have a definition of what a rental housing unit is.
Yeah.
Also a common thing, that if you want to rent, you have to register your rental.
Right,
In other municipalities.
right. And, you know, if you were to develop any kind of house, if you were to build any house, you'd have to have a life safety inspection.
Yeah.
And so, we're not saying this is a change of use. We're just saying it's a life safety inspection as any house would need to pass. Some municipalities, I don't know if in Maine, but in Massachusetts, require a life safety inspection whenever a home sells. You have to have a fire alarm test
Yep.
or a smoke detector test.
I had to put more in
Yep,
when I sold
exactly.
my house.
Okay.
Because the bylaws had changed from the time they built my house till I sold the house, so I ended up putting 2 more in.
The, in terms of like getting an understanding of what the short-term rental scenario is in the town, would be sort of a separate question, I guess, but would we be able to understand second homes as well in that equation? Is that easy to understand now in terms of the homeowner?
Whether the homeowner lives there
Yeah, that's the
as a
exemption.
primary residence?
We can see that through the exemption currently.
Mhm. Yeah, our assessing department has a pretty good idea of
Yeah.
what those are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is probably, yeah, you have to be close to the.
But
right number.
this change makes no distinction.
No distinction, right.
No. Right, Ryan?
We would be able to see it, though. We would be able to see where the overlaps are.
Mhm.
I think
Yes.
the application form may also provide you some clues as to where the person lives
Yeah.
that owns
Yeah.
it.
But whether there's a homeowner's
Oh, a homestead?
homestead exemption.
Yeah.
Also,
Mhm.
So are you recommending you add, is all this new, new language, Jeff?
Everything from add this section to chapter 800.
I
so,
can't see
right
whatever
there.
you're looking at.
Oh, it was just there. Ryan, scroll up. Everything there, down.
And this is something you guys had written back in 2024?
Yes.
Mostly,
Yes.
and you just added a few?
It was mostly, well, I'd say it's 4 members of this planning
Right.
board plus Orion.
Mhm.
Yeah. In my reading of it, it seems detailed and, good. And this would be for the ordinance, to be
Mhm.
straight into the ordinance.
So would this exclude motels and hotels, the way it's written?
Well, motels and hotels are already in the business licensing portion. So they wouldn't have to adhere to this because they're already adhering to life safety of something else.
Okay.
And they have to get a license.
So this basically is picking up anything that's not a business licensed motel and hotel.
Correct. And they do that yearly. So
For both long-term rentals and short-term rentals.
For all rent, all rent.
Should be all.
this would be all rentals, yeah.
And so that might be a way to think about and market it too. It's not really just about short-term rentals, it's just about the rentals, period,
Mhm.
which could be helpful, I think.
Well, that's why we went down this road, for, like, why this? Why not just short-term rental? Well, political outfall, one, is
Let's just
bad.
make it housing, yeah. make it
But,
rental.
there's also other concerns with what about long-term rental? Where are they putting those? It's the same concern.
Mhm.
It's life safety, that's what we're
Right.
concerned about.
Right.
It lets us know a little bit more about the housing stock, which is important data. But outside of that, it's not, like, the fee would be, very small. It wouldn't be what Camden's charging.
What's the title of this ordinance then?
It is
Rental housing units.
Units,
So it'd be rental. Could
rental housing unit.
maybe recommend you add the notion of life safety somewhere in your titling of your section?
For life safety, maybe, rental housing unit. something of that nature.
What's your concern with that, John? Just the interpretation of it?
It
Yeah,
it explains the reason it's here,
yep,
is you're focused on life safety of all rental units. And it does, it focuses on the point,
mm-hmm,
which is not to, try and, begin to regulate.
Well,
short-term.
instead of in the purpose section, we have it as the use of rental housing units, so we could say requirements for the life safety aspects of rental housing units.
Right.
I would even
or safe use.
just try to write it in more simple English, just, to ensure, all rental housing units are safe and blah, 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 Even life safety is kind of a
Yeah,
bit of jargon,
Yeah.
Why not just say what you're trying to say, which
Yep.
is, we want to make sure anybody in a rental unit anywhere in our town is not in danger for their life,
Not insure.
Ensure the health and safety of.
Okay.
health and safety of occupants of,
Rental units.
Health and safety on behalf of the occupants of rental housing units or something like that.
yeah, I think that's good.
The definition includes what all the
It would be-
subsets of it.
Get rid of the
Pieces,
first
yeah.
so it's just to ensure health and safety on behalf of the occupants of rental housing.
Well,
Okay,
that's-
here's,
No, not that, yet that, the other, the other.
This
Before health.
doesn't make sense.
Okay,
I'm
Tom.
sorry, this wording doesn't make sense. You don't ensure the health and safety on behalf of.
Health and safety
That's
of.
why I took-
Ensuring the health and safety
Of
of
the
the
occupants,
occupants.
yeah, take the behalf out.
Yeah, but that's why I took away the, Tom. See, you missed that. Now read it. Read it without the.
Okay.
okay. I have a,
Ensure health and, oh, I see. Ensure health and safety
I have
on
a marketing
behalf.
strategy here.
How much is the health and safety of the occupants? All right, whatever.
Guys, I have
Sure,
a, I have a
health.
health, I have a
Okay.
marketing strategy for this.
All right, go ahead, Claude.
I asked Claude, would most homeowners insurance cover a rental property if it was never inspected for life and safety? Basically, the answer is no.
Mhm.
They would not cover any damage.
They wouldn't cover anything that was,
It says here, two separate issues,
Not
both point the
code
same
compliant.
direction. Homeowners insurance and rental properties don't mix. A standard homeowner's property is written for the owner-occupied primary residence. If you rent the property out, even part-time or to a single long-term tenant, most insurers consider that a business use. And there's three other kinds of policies you need. Never having a life safety inspection compounds the problem. Missing smoke detectors, no fire escapes, faulty wiring, etc. can be grounds for denial on their own. Insurers can argue the loss resulted from a known hazard or that code violations voided coverage separate from the occupancy issue. So the honest answer, no. Most homeowners insurance wouldn't cover the situation. So I think if you want to verify this with some insurance company, this might be a very powerful tool to convince all homeowners.
you
that
don't
if
have
they
to
didn't
verify
have
it.
the-
It
they
is.
don't
You just-
have-
it is,
any
but-
whiff of it, they'll say they can deny the claim.
Right,
That's right.
but as the current way it goes, a lot of them probably do have appropriate insurance.
Yes.
Without having to get a
Right.
municipal health and safety inspection.
Right.
And maybe a health and safety inspection would help them when something does go wrong and they haven't had it inspected in 3 years. Like I have rental units down in Philadelphia. We have had the same insurance for years and haven't had any kind of inspection. And so it's sort of like, yes, it's correct and sensible, but it's not the way it kind of works, if that makes sense, right?
Well, but I
on the
think it's a
ground.
nice, it's a
Right.
nice problem.
But marketing,
to
yes,
offer.
like,
Yeah,
it could be
a
very- it
good
could be
problem to
helpful.
offer to
Right.
homeowners.
Right.
That we'll do this for the cost of the inspection, and you should know that your homeowner's insurance may not cover it. something happens and you haven't been inspected.
Okay.
I mean,
If you have just plain homeowners insurance, they're not gonna cover anything to do with an Airbnb
Right.
problem, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'm, not to sound Pollyannish or whatever the word is, but like, I'm generally concerned for the welfare of occupants of short-term rentals because they're transient.
Yes.
Because they don't know where smoke detectors, if they're working, they don't know where a fire extinguisher is.
That's
They
right.
may not even know the way out of the space they're in
Yes.
if there's
Right.
a conflagration, so.
Right, but you don't have to sell those people.
No, I know.
houses, you have to sell the owner.
I know.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah.
Whether the,
Well-
whether the homeowner can recoup the cost of whatever claim is like, or lawsuit, like, it's kind of like, yes, I get it as a political thing, but like, yeah.
No.
But most people, every time we've talked about any kind of short-term rental thing, they view it as trying to take it
Yeah.
away, and it's like, no,
No
you,
doubt.
like, I get it, like, I mean, the people that showed up in opposition to something, it was the comp plan. They were worried that we
Right.
were gonna regulate short-term rentals and take away their additional income for them to live in their house. It's like, no, it's nowhere in the comp plan.
No.
So,
People I may even have a position on short-term rentals that I don't, but like, I hate them, I don't want them to exist anywhere in town.
Right.
But that's not what this is doing.
mhm.
That's not what this is about at all.
Yep. Yep.
No, but the problem is the fear that this is the first step.
Yes, I know. The slippery slope,
Slippery slope.
that's where, yes, the public campaign for this needs
Yes.
to be there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like this, this belongs in the land use ordinance.
Remind them that the slippery slope is actually it's got a lot of friction, which means like, they will have to vote on anything that changes. So
Yeah.
that slippery slope
Oh,
isn't
right.
slippery, it's like
That's-
you
yeah.
vote again
Right.
if it
Right.
gets changed.
Right. Can't put in a tax without you voting on it.
Right.
Separately.
We're, for,
Yeah.
whether we like it or not, we're not Rockland, we can't pass something by fiat of the board of directors, whatever.
Council.
Which is true,
Council.
but not 100% known by the public.
Yeah,
They don't know that we can't pass stuff.
right, right.
So, on this section here, Ryan, or Jeff, I guess, why would we be green lighting short-term rental usage in all zones when we're calling it a commercial use?
Because it already exists. This was the conversation we had before. It already can exist everywhere except 916 because it's the dump,
No residential.
and then no residential. And so we
Why
didn't,
can it exist everywhere?
well, 916 is the
It's a dump.
industrial park.
No, but the short-term rentals do currently exist everywhere.
No.
Yeah, but why, yeah, and I think that's the problem.
Well,
Because I think some of them are operating clearly as freestanding commercial enterprises, and it doesn't have anything to do with owner occupied or anything like that. They're owned to generate business income for whoever owns them.
and I think that's the larger conversation. Right now,
But
this is a
what we're
life
doing
safety
here
aspect.
is we're basically kicking the door open for,
It has to exist somewhere.
It
And
already
it
does.
already exists
Wide
everywhere.
open.
how about a conditional use?
Well, so, and I don't know what the select board's interest is at this time and where this could be limited, but they could have this very conversation that they don't want it in certain zones. Or in the future, they say, we need to rein it back in certain zones, but with
mean,
this
if it's already-
information, you
if
can
it's
get
already
data for how much is in each zone as well.
What's that?
You can have data also. With this ordinance, with this ordinance, it passes, they sign up, they get their registration, they get their life safety, we get the data. We know a little bit more about it, then we can make a determination on one, if short-term rentals are harmful or not. And then you'll have an understanding of where they are throughout town.
I understand all that, but are you gonna be able to unpermit something?
Yeah. You can permit, it's grandfathered at that
Yeah,
point.
there'll be little stars next to them.
Yeah, so
You
those
just
that
said two
exist.
different things. You
They're
almost contradicted yourself.
grandfathered. You can't, like right now, you can just not put this table in and say they have to register. They're still grandfathered. And then if you say, well, we're not gonna allow them in certain zones, well, they're already there. You can't take it away. You will never be able to take it away. You'll lose that case every time. But you
So
can
no matter
say,
what we come up with, if there were ever to be an ordinance, anybody
you
who's
can't-
currently operating would not be impacted by any new ordinance.
they would be impacted in some ways, but they can't be taken away. You can't take that use away.
Can't take the use away, but you can require fire and safety inspection. But if it's permitted, then it's like,
They're permanent anyway, like they're already allowed. So if a point in time, 10, 20 years down the road, whatever, the town says, we don't want them in 904, well, you can take that away, and no new will come in 904. You already have them permitted, you already know what's
Well,
there.
there's innumerable ways that you could regulate the amount of them in any zone
Mhm.
or townwide. You
Mhm.
could say a short-term rental operator can only operate one, or they have to live on the premises or in the parcel that's
so
adjacent to it.
even
You
if
can
they,
set up
even if
many
they
of
had
those.
Yes.
multiple ones they're operating before, like if you did something, say in a situation, some other town, you did this and you said, we're gonna not allow more than one short-term rental per, I don't know, per property.
Right.
But there's a number of them that already have more than one on a property. According to Ryan, they're gonna be grandfathered in.
Mhm.
And is that a
They're currently
Maine state
grandfathered in.
thing? Or is that?
Another,
Well, that's
what I'm
what I'm
saying
saying,
is,
that's
City just
more-
Sort of.
any new restriction would not apply no matter what you
I
did.
don't want to be New York City for that. But, the taking bit is the lengthy bit. If someone wanted to argue as a
Right.
taking, we're going to be in a very lengthy battle for what?
Right.
I don't see that as a good
No, I
use of municipal funds.
personally don't think we should even be thinking about that at all, really. It's just sort of, my own take on this is that that's the way it is now, that's what we're gonna, in terms of marketing, if we marketed that it's gonna shift, then there's gonna be people that are gonna be shifted out of it or threatened by it, and then that starts to go down a, problematic alleyway.
I guess the risk, John, is that, say there's 100 say you're somebody who wants to limit the number of short-term rentals. This year there's 100, there's no ordinance. Next year there's 120, there's still no ordinance. Next year there's 140, you provide an ordinance. 140 is now kind of what have been grandfathered.
That's,
If we do this, at this point, it's 100, and it doesn't allow it to get to 140 if next year you were to decide you wanted to impose some more conditions on it. So, I mean, it needs to start somewhere in order to start that grandfathering process.
well, to me, they're all grandfathered until that P goes away.
No, what he's saying is you can further, saying
You
901,
could
you
take a P away
can,
next year.
yeah, what we
But
could be, you
anything
could add,
this year would be grandfathered up until that point.
Is it,
you can add a limitation to numbers. You can say you can only have a quantity within a zone.
that
So-
use, the use that gets grandfathered, does that follow the property or is that only for the owner?
That's
Good
the,
question.
that's the property and the use of it, as if the new buyer doesn't want to use it, they lose the grandfathering.
But
the
if they
use.
want to use it,
But we
the
could
grandfather
write that
passes
in.
with the property, okay.
You can write it in, it kind of exists right now. I mean, we have plenty of cases where that is the situation, so. And then this is also in commercial, if you don't use it for 2+ years, then gotta go back,
Right.
so.
So the only way you could, if it went through like it is being proposed, the only way you could actually go below that number. what's it?
Non-renewal of
Is,
of
is through a
permits.
non-renewal. You can't just suddenly say, sorry, 10 of you've got to stop being rental units.
No.
No what?
You wouldn't be able to reduce that number down.
Right, unless somebody discontinued
Right.
doing it.
Right.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I understand it.
Can you set the fee schedule to disincentivize them to do it?
Yeah, I mean, you can change the fee schedule. The fee schedule can change at any point in time at the discretion of the select board.
And you
So
could,
you can
you can put a
increase it.
moratorium on any new ones.
Well, there is not going to be any fee, right?
Right now, we'll have
There's a
a,
discussion of fees.
Inspection.
there's gonna be a fee on this because there's an inspection. That's gotta cover some costs, but that'll follow whatever the business licensing fee is, which is just enough to cover the hourly rate
Right.
of.
That's, we're talking about a minimal amount.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
Alright. So, anything?
The last one I had was a miscellaneous change. There's two numbers in that 918A table. In the 906 zone and the 907 zone where it says commercial, this number, and then residential, this number. It's the same number, so I don't know why it says commercial
918,
versus residential.
918A.
Yeah, that one, toward the bottom. Right there. It says residential use, commercial, commercial. It's like, why isn't it just 20
Oh,
feet?
it used to be different. I see. We can, you want this to just be 20 all around?
It's just, I mean, it's 20 for 906, it's 20 for 907. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's commercial or residential.
Yeah. Yeah, it used to be different, residential and commercial, and each zone was different.
Okay.
Okay.
Jan, you had some documented things. Can we go over that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Can you bring up Jan's document?
I don't think I saw James.
Where is his?
um,
In the workshop?
yeah, I think so.
I didn't see it
It's a
there.
doc file.
Yeah, it's not in the 7/23/2026.
Oh,
Maybe it's in the
on-
meeting.
The documents under the
Yeah.
housing workshop? Oh.
I don't remember where I put it.
That one, yep.
Oh,
right
so
there.
it's in this meeting's, not the workshop
That's it.
meeting folder.
Yep,
but the
that's it.
meeting folder.
Okay, so I divided up my comments into sections. The first section was housekeeping, just simple changes that spelling is wrong, or it says planning office, it should say planning and development office. In section 503.4, there's the term expansion of time, which has, I think, absolutely
That's psychedelic,
no,
man.
no meaning at all.
Expansion of time.
Expansion of time, yes. It's a lovely frame, but I mean, it's just nothing. Section 300, definitions. There's some definitions that I think we need to change or add. The first one, we need a definition, I think, we need to change our definition for mobile home, and bring in a definition for manufactured homes. This is from the state. No, that's not from the state. Anyway, these need to be changed. The state offers definitions. They say that there's since 1976 there are no such things as mobile homes. So to me, what we count as a mobile home is something that was built with tires, taken someplace, the tires were taken off, as opposed
We have
to a
to do
modular.
reports on, we fill out reports for mobile homes and modular homes, so.
Factory-built housing has to meet the same federal codes and state codes as stick-built housing. So we don't have to have anything in it in terms of what the codes are. The CEO just applies the same things. But we do need to put in a definition. We also have no definition for multifamily dwelling in section 300.
We must.
And we have no definition for lodging, whether it's a simple, whether that includes an STR or not. Then I have a section called identified changes needed.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Dwelling, multifamily, we have a definition.
Yes.
But I think
It doesn't start with M, it starts with D.
it doesn't apply to two-family, to a duplex. We have single family and multifamily, but a multifamily is listed as 3 or more dwellings.
No.
Building. Somewhere.
Dwelling, multifamily, one or more buildings used for residential occupancy by 2 or more families, each living independently
Oh, I
of each
thought it
other.
said 3, my fault.
No.
Okay,
It
sorry.
used to, an old one used to, because we used to have a duplex and we got rid of that.
Okay, all right. Not to say that I'm always right, that's for sure. In section, now I'm gonna have to open, I've got numbers here when I don't have the things in front of me, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me open up section 600 and see what I asked for. Yes. 604.4, inspection will be followed, inspection, et cetera, violations that are not corrected within the date, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm wondering, should we put in that section a line that says, a stop work order shall be posted publicly at the site of the violation? That is to let the public know that there is a violation going on and you can't do any work until you've solved that violation. So that's one thing. Do you want to talk about things, or you want me to?
Yeah, we should talk about them.
Okay. It was simply a matter of, it says that violations that are not corrected within the date specified will be subject to enforcement provisions and so forth and so on. I think if there is a code violation of a rental unit, there ought to be a sign on the window that says there's a stop work order. That you can't do anything to this until you can't rent this out until you fix it.
So when a stop work order is issued on any other project, it's not like, blasted and advertised, like it's given out. And if Andrew or code officer cannot get a hold of whomever, they post it. And then the owner will take it down. 'Cause they don't want that shown.
So we don't have a policy of posting these things to the public?
I mean, it is posted to the public through our online platform. You
Okay.
can find all our violations
Okay.
online.
Yeah.
So
Probably
that is
Probably
public.
6 people know that, yeah.
Probably.
Can't find any.
And this way, it's just notified to the owner or
To
to
the
the
owner,
person,
then
to
you can
the
take it up.
person
Okay.
that's.
Then
that's
change
the
that, forget
violation.
that. Forget that.
So do they have to take down their permit sign?
Yeah. you
If
could
they're
take-
building?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if they're building, they gotta put the permit up, that's gotta be displayed,
Right.
and if there's a violation on that, I mean, he puts up a violation of that.
Yeah.
Or notifies whomever of the violation, and if it's not related to the building, it's just a violation to our ordinance.
Yeah.
Same kind of method, and if I can't get a hold of landowner, then I go and I post it on the front door.
Yeah.
And then take a picture, satisfies our step and process through, the legal steps.
Okay. Section 700, Board of Appeals. The first line, 701.1, says that they serve terms of at least 3 years.
'Cause they
That
can
sounds
serve-
to me like they serve a minimum of 3 and a maximum of life.
9.
Well, but it doesn't say that. It just says a minimum
Well,
of 3.
that's here, so,
Why do we have the zoning board of appeals bylaws in the land use
yeah,
ordinance?
we're not gonna touch it, that's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, just for that, you're fired.
Okay.
We're not gonna
Get out
touch
of
Um,
town.
I mean, this is a hiccup here, because I have bylaws that kind of govern where the structure of it. So if they change that, then they gotta change this.
Yeah.
That's gonna get into a pickle,
Fine, okay.
but nothing really.
As long as you know about
right
it.
now.
But the other one,
Don't recommend
well,
it.
703.4, I put a comment on.
Yeah.
It cites height,
Right.
height variances,
Mhm.
that we should get rid of the numbers.
Right, I just said, height as limited in LUO.
I just put in my comment what it should read. Before granting approval of a side or rear yard setback variance or height variance, the ZBA shall obtain a written statement from the fire chief concerning the effect of the proposed variance on fire safety. So just
That's fine.
get rid of the numbers.
Yeah, get rid of the numbers, exactly.
Okay, we should definitely do that.
Numbers don't belong in multiple places.
Right, right. 704, planning office should be planning and development office. 705.4, we have to
Post it in the
post it in
newspaper.
a newspaper. That's kind of problematic in 2020.
That's still a legal requirement.
Yeah,
I'm down to, what is it, 7054?
705.4. So whatever the legal requirement, how that reads now, that should be changed.
We'll just remove, advertising is we'll just cite,
Maybe it should
state
be-
law.
Right, But maybe it should also include like posted to the town website or something, some way to, which is not the appellant's duty, but
Well, cite state law.
The
That's
state
what we
law says
follow.
where it needs to be posted.
newspaper, yeah.
Yeah, whatever it says, and that way if they update it, we're good. Okay.
Okay, section 800, 801.5, letter B. There is no penalty for failing to do what this says you have to do. Where would the penalty be? Is there like ordinances or something that specify what the penalty for doing this is? Or we don't have to talk about it?
Under clear cutting?
Yeah, under clear cutting. It's if you do it, there should be a penalty. Is that mentioned anywhere?
Where,
801.
no, I know where you're looking, but isn't there a place somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
There must be a place somewhere in the ordinance, Ryan, that
There's-
penalties are dealt with.
There is,
It's because you couldn't just go have penalties after everything in each section of the ordinance. Like it would just be a,
No,
Yes.
I know, but there has to,
See, you know,
yeah,
I just want to know that there is a place where the penalty is
yeah,
written
so
down.
where is
That's all.
that? Like
civil
code
penalty.
violations, ordinance,
violations.
ordinance violations.
which I remember when I was sitting on the board with John, we had a project before us that they moved an enormous amount of earth before we ever walked the site. And we had no means of saying, that's wrong. But we could just sit here and say, well, that's not the way it's supposed to work, but we had no means of anything.
That's
So-
my fear.
Yeah. And so it seems like,
Because if there is no penalty, they'll just do it.
right, and they were just renewing a smaller permit over and over and over again, rather than, they never had to get a big permit to move that much earth around.
Oh, which they wouldn't have gotten. probably.
Right, which they wouldn't have gotten.
Okay.
And
So
then
we do
Joe
have
was
a
like,
penalty section. I'm trying to remember. When it comes to clear cutting, there's something else that goes into it. I'll have to talk to Andrew. On,
If you tell me it's there, I trust you.
608 civil penalties?
yeah, civil penalties is where that is.
Yeah.
But with clear cutting, becomes a bit of a pickle. So what are you clear cutting for? That's the first question. So one, if they're clear cutting to then do a development, well, they're not going to get approval to do any development because they violated the ordinance. So that's like our number one tool. You're not going to get your permit to build. So no one's
for
really interested.
agriculture.
Or if it's for agriculture. And
I'm
if you're
happy there's not a
if you're
problem.
gonna clear cut, generally you have like some reason to cut it, so it's probably in a program anyway. For it's like timber harvesting. It'd be pretty odd and rare.
Well, so the the point of like what site walks for some development is for us to see the
Yeah.
land before it gets, but the one I'm mentioning was, the whole thing was cut down and
Yeah.
stuff was brought in already, and so.
It
so-
isn't just the clear cutting that I'm
Right.
worried about, but section B, written plan for, steps in a timetable for revegetation of the land, retard erosion, preserve natural beauty obtained from a professional registered in the state of Maine, code enforcement officer. Plan shall be carried out by the property owner according to the timetable in the plan, or else. It's the or else that I'm looking for. So if you've got a penalty someplace, I'm fine.
There is an or else, and the state's involved on that.
That's fine. No, I don't need details. If
Yeah.
you're comfortable with it, so am I. 801C, section 2, oh no, sorry,
801.5B.
section 1.
Oh, that's what we just did. 801.6C.
801, yeah, 801.6CI.
Yeah.
I would like to put in, so that reads, the event proceeds shall be primarily for the benefit of one or more nonprofit organizations serving Knox County or a town-sponsored event.
Well, that would be the event received prior approval from the select board.
Oh,
That'd be the town-sponsored event,
Well,
B, or the 2,
aye.
yeah.
yeah.
So in
Okay.
order to be a
All right,
town-sponsored
so
event,
that
it would
makes
have been
it
approved by the
town-sponsored.
select board.
Okay.
Yep.
I actually have a comment on this, is the playing of amplified music. So this is basically our noise ordinance.
Mhm.
Yes,
What if it's not amplified music? What if it's like
just noise.
Monster trucks.
Yeah.
monster trucks? What if it's somebody just like revving their motorcycle at 3 a.m.? Like, that's not music, but there's nothing in here that controls that.
Do we have no other noise ordinance? Do we have other noise ordinance?
I don't think so. I think this
I
is,
looked this up a while ago because of the noisy neighborhood.
Well, I mean, what about B? No person shall make or cause to be made
Yeah,
repetitive
there it is.
loud noise which disturb, injure,
Yeah.
or endanger the comfort, health, peace, safety of others.
So that's
Okay.
there, yeah.
It kind of covers
Does it have to
everything.
be
I
repetitive?
remember looking at this a few years ago when a neighbor was repeatedly shooting a gun for hours on end. Hours and hours and hours and hours.
what if they shoot a gun and then rev their Harley
They did
and
both,
then
I
play
think.
loud music?
Yeah.
It's not repetitive. It's a one-off of each.
Goodness.
Sooner or later, they're gonna repeat the same.
That's
the
interesting
same thing
because
in the same way
repetitive
every
loud
night.
noises does narrow it down quite a bit.
What does narrow down?
Repetitive loud noises. Is music repetitive?
I mean, it's like John Cage
Well,
or something.
the repetitive, so like, you know,
Play the same song over again.
yeah, but like, you know, if
Well,
it,
what
if
if
a
it's-
person is just driving by and they happen to have a loud, obnoxious vehicle, but if they're doing it multiple times, well, that's a
That's a
problem.
different matter.
But what if they're one Sunday night at midnight playing really loud music?
Well,
Not repetitive.
like, I think it's in the eye of the beholder there, and you can still submit your complaint and
Yeah.
we can investigate it. But if it's on a Sunday, it's not getting solved till Monday.
Okay, that's fine. I'm
Okay.
satisfied.
Section 801.7, letter A,
You don't like the
Um,
mercury light?
lighting.
It's kind of
the,
nostalgic.
200 watt mercury light is an obsolete number.
But it says with a lumen output equal to.
Yeah.
Well,
So
but
that's what you
I
did,
would
you
rather
just
that we
translated
said
to
7 to
lumens.
10,000 lumens.
So you translated that to
I
lumens.
translated,
Yeah.
yeah. I just translated it. to
Get
sort
with
of,
the 21st
lighting
century.
with a lumen
801.7A.
output, less than 10,000 lumens is the equivalent.
Equal or greater than 10,000 lumens
Right.
shall not be directed
Given
toward the
all
sky.
lines.
This is 2025.
Yep.
There's a new one since then.
Yep.
I'll find it.
That's my 2 years at RIT. There, in a nutshell.
I recognize an upstate western New York accent with you.
Not 2 years.
So you want the lighting to be worded differently?
Yeah, I think instead of saying equal, output equal or greater to 200 watt mercury light, say an output equal or greater than 10,000 lumens. Lighting with an output equal or greater 10,000 lumens shall not be directed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Conversations
Then everything
wanted.
else that I have
609.4.
is under the heading of conversations wanted. And they're mostly in the 800s, but I'm going to go back. I've got one for 609.3. So let me see what that is. 609.3. This may be a non-issue. What I wrote down was 609.3 only references the CEO inspections one time. What about in items B and C? But you're probably going to tell me that applies because it's in A.
It applies because it's designee.
Hmm?
It applies because it says or their designee.
Yeah, but it only talks about inspection in item A. Oh, I guess it does. Okay, forget that one, okay? Go back to 800. 8012, letter E, a surety bond? We do surety bonds?
We
the planning board?
determine the amount,
Okay.
apparently.
Good for us. Okay.
We recommend the amount of the surety bond. I don't think we've ever done it. I've never,
I've
For
never,
the
I've never,
What do we do for the solar farm installations?
we
We get a bond.
did get a bond,
Yeah.
but did
For
we
the
recommend the
removal.
amount?
It was the amount.
It was
to-
equivalent to something.
Equivalent to the cost to remove it.
So we didn't specify the number.
I don't remember.
There was a formula. There's a formula to it, and the same thing with telecommunication tower.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
That they need to provide a surety bond to
Mhm.
make sure
if it falls down, they could.
Or for the solar, so they can take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which has also like.
So what is the formula? Is that something in like some third drawer behind your desk that
I thought it was in here.
it's in the document?
Yeah, it would have to be.
For the solar?
In solar and in,
Oh, what's
telecommunications tower,
814.
wind farm, all that stuff.
Mm,
Site plan application. Submission of a decommissioning plan that includes estimated expenses for decommissioning and average inflation adjusted dollars. Plan should include the expected operating life of system in years.
mhm. That.
So they come up with the number,
Mhm.
The applicant?
the applicant.
But it has to be convincing enough.
Right.
Yeah, okay. That's
Yeah.
right, that's right,
If they're going to convince you it's 20
That's right.
bucks, BS.
yeah.
ready for next?
Yep.
801.7, lighting. Under point D, I would like to request changing the word multifamily housing to residential housing. I don't know why single-family homes should be exempt. from
Okay,
these
what?
rules.
Fine.
And then I'm also curious, same, under III, freestanding lighting fixtures shall not extend above 25 feet. Does freestanding, what I wrote down was, what about lights that are on top of buildings? Are those freestanding lights, if you put a pole on a building?
No.
Does that count? Or does freestanding only mean from the ground?
Attached to the ground.
So you could put like a antenna mast on top of your roof.
Yeah, with a big light on it.
Would that count as
Yeah.
freestanding?
Yeah.
I would say probably not.
Probably not one.
Not freestanding. If there's a mast on top of your house,
Then it's not freestanding, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's fine.
which would be.
Okay,
Now, in terms of the residential thing,
yeah.
it's sort of interesting because then, I don't know, it opens up it feels like it opens up like people complaining about neighbors' lights and then measuring
Yes,
lights.
it does.
So, okay.
Like my own neighbor.
Well, there was a famous one in Camden with the Rockefeller. They had a big law dispute. There was a Rockefeller who built a property on the water in
I know.
Camden. You remember the
Yeah.
law?
Yeah.
He moved eventually because of it.
So you would remove the word multifamily?
I would change it to residential, that's just, it's my preference. I don't
Multifamily
know if-
housing, just make it
if it's
residential.
anybody else's preference.
I have no issue with that.
In
I
eight,
wouldn't fit into this. It's interesting. I
You
just
wouldn't
have,
fit into
Yeah,
it?
I have some floodlights on my
You
shed.
flood your neighbors?
No neighbor gets flooded, but my shed has a couple floodlights on it.
what are you worried about?
I'm just saying, like, it's sort of an interesting, it's a narrow definition.
What is a half a foot candle?
Well, it says that 2.5% of the lamp lumens occur which means that less than 2.5% of the lamp lumens occur at or above the horizontal plane, and no more than 10% of the lamp lumens occur above 80 degrees. So it's sort of just, it's forcing it down, which I perfectly agree with.
Oh,
But so any floodlight that's like this is gonna be
Right, no,
against the rules.
I'm for dark skies.
Right.
And the light that stays on your property.
I mean, 3 of my 4 neighbors are now gonna be not in compliance.
Ready? 808, or 801.8 exposed areas. The sixth line, the first word, which says fences, should be changed to solid fences. If this is going to be a screen, it better be a solid fence rather than a wire fence or a slatted fence or some fence that you can see through. It's not a visual buffer unless the fence is solid.
Well, doesn't the sentence prior to that it has to be sufficient? A visual
Yeah.
buffer sufficient to minimize their adverse impact.
Well, I guess that would apply. Okay, I know what you mean.
Okay.
Okay.
I
So,
could-
and it says a 6-foot screen, which could be made up of a bunch of different
Yeah,
things.
a
Okay.
screen is a generic
Alright.
word for the, whatever it
Not
is.
easy. No problem.
I mean, industrial, oh.
Yeah,
industrial wastewater.
801.1.2.
No,
that can't-
no,
that can't
802
be
1B,
right. No,
wastewater.
no, it's parking, sorry, it's 803.
Wait, I'm just following what's up there.
Yeah, well, no, that's, I may have mistyped it. 802.
No, this was industrial wastewater. It says, do we have
No,
published
that's-
standards
yeah,
for
that's
industrial
wastewater.
wastewater? 802
I wondered if we had standards for industrial wastewater, but I thought I would stop it because I bet we do.
We do.
And then,
Good.
under number 2,
Parking spaces?
parking spaces, I just thought we ought to change multifamily to 1.5 per unit, or especially for cluster development, but we're getting into the parking in a better way otherwise, so we don't need to do that
Yeah,
here.
it's supposed to be a 3.
801.1,
Uh,
803.1. Okay.
I want to skip to 804.5.
So this is that parking, since we're right here at that parking language that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
This, it says parking space table, and then it says the following table specifies the minimum number. And that was the thing that we were talking about before.
right.
Would we want to change that so it's not?
Well, what we did before, where we said that there is the capability
Right.
of
Right.
changing that ought to be referred to here too. I think if we're going to take away a solid number in one place, you have to take it away in all places.
Right, and then the word specifies feels very distinct.
Yeah.
Very,
What would the change you make be?
the following table is a guideline to the minimum number of parking spaces. Is a guideline for parking
Which is
spaces.
guidelines, yeah.
Yeah.
Peter, you have thoughts on this? Do you have thoughts on this? The parking space table, subject to sections 5, 6, 7, or 8. The following table specifies the minimum number of parking spaces to be provided. And Carter's suggesting, what?
Just the
following table.
Yeah, turn it into more of a guide instead of a specification. Specification is usually when it's written out is like it must be this. Whereas if you want to sort of create a range or you want to create like a general use zone, a general guidance. And so the following table is a guide for the number of parking spaces to be provided.
What is it now?
The
It
following
says-
table specifies the minimum number. So it's like, this is what you gotta do.
He's not on it there.
No.
Do you want to put, can that?
I think the way we've been
sorry.
talking about it is that those numbers are like the minimum recommendation that might feel a little bit too
Peter,
soft though,
Why don't you just say suggested?
or suggest, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Well,
following
the
table
following table
suggests-
suggests the minimum number of parking.
What are we
spaces.
suggesting now? What do we have in that little grid?
For example,
The suggested
single,
change is
single family-
1.5, so what are we at now?
right, there's a big long table and then there's all the different categories and then numbers accordingly. So there's like single-family dwellings, 2 parking spaces per dwelling unit.
This table
Multifamily
right
dwellings,
here.
2 parking spaces per dwelling unit.
This table.
Yeah.
So I guess
So
what
it
Jan was
says-
saying was 1.5 is a better number than 2 for multifamily, but then maybe you're retracting that to say maybe we just
Well, I think
Provide that as guidance?
when we have a guideline, like we've been discussing with sufficient parking and ability to do parking, have it in one place and refer, every other time we're talking about
Right.
parking, refer to it.
Yeah.
So that we don't have to worry about changing a number every place it shows up.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
Number once.
Do it once, every number one time.
And then and then I like this table, but and maybe just guide.
Right, that's the thing, is I didn't really want to get rid of it because it is
That's the
helpful,
existing.
It's a helpful table, I like it.
This is the.
whether it's right or
this is
wrong
the
in all
new
numbers.
land
So
use.
maybe just
useful
the
to
following
have.
table suggests the minimum number of parking spaces.
Yeah, it's kind of guidance for the planning board as well
Yeah.
as the developer.
Because then it's like, you're only proposing one space for your 15 units, you know?
Yeah. I will say though, the D says, subject to sections 5, 6, 7, or 8 below.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's it talking about?
I've got it circled. I got to do some research.
Is
but
that like actually E, F, G, and H?
It could be.
Because you guys changed the numbers and letters around a couple times.
Mhm.
Yep.
And this could predate me even. But
Look back at your old ordinances.
okay.
Okay, what's next, Jen?
Parking spaces. 804.4,
D.
letter D. I was wondering, for cluster development, is there some kind of, it doesn't really, I don't know why I put 4.4.
That's utilities. so-
That's utilities, that's not what I'm
Underground,
talking about.
that's
So
underground
what I was
utilities.
talking about was, it says that pre-existing conservation, it says it someplace. Pre-existing conservation easements are not counted when you're calculating for base density of a space. And I'm wondering whether it would encourage more cluster developments if we did count, if there'd be any deficit for us, any positive or negative impact, if we did count already existing conservation easements to be counted in the calculations to help the builder along.
Sat in your seat too many
The
times.
same amount of land would be consumed.
Yeah, so, Orion, this is a relatively recent section, right?
No. Cluster development's been in there for a long time.
Cluster's the old one.
Every
That is the
select
old
board
one.
meeting, I sit
And I
right
know
where
that you
are.
wanted to change
Happens every
a whole
meeting.
lot about that.
Well, we
Well,
did the
you feel like
PUD.
it's- Right, we did the PUD,
The
so-
clusters, I'm okay with it staying the way it is.
But no one's really tapping into it anyway.
No one's,
No, I'm trying to figure out if there's a.
because they could do the condominium.
An
Yeah.
inducement to do it.
That's a lot easier for them to do. So there's no reason.
Well, is
Does
there
it
a way to
result
make
in the
cluster?
same
Is there a
building
way to
type?
make cluster developments easier to do?
Yeah.
A way to encourage it?
Somewhat, I mean, it somewhat results in the same.
Well, that's a question of if this is harder and it forces them into the condo, when maybe we would want more cluster. I mean, just sort of, it's an interesting. Right.
All of the let's see, not all. It's either they do lots because it's easier for them to understand and sell.
Yeah.
The cluster development's a little harder for them to do it unless it's a condominium. And once you're in the condominium structure, you're
That's-
going to follow the condominium law.
Right.
And so untangling it to get them to do this is a little
Right.
complicated.
So there's sort of outside factors that are
Yeah.
part of that as well.
Doesn't mean that I don't pitch it, but people come back with that argument.
Another thing I thought that might be a way of increasing cluster developments is to reduce the property taxes on the public spaces owned by the homeowners association. Is that possible?
Public spaces owned by the homeowners association?
Public spaces as this, the open space.
No good? Okay. 806,
Livestock control, my favorite.
I just want to know if we would like to allow backyard chickens?
We do.
Yeah, backyard chickens are allowed.
Where are we?
Do you think they're not?
806?
I've got chickens right now in my backyard.
He's
They're not
saying
mine.
He's saying
Uh-huh.
They're not mine, they're my neighbors, but,
No, roosters aren't allowed. I don't know.
Any
what
egg
it
on your
says, but-
property is yours.
yeah.
That's the way it
They
works.
never have laid an egg. They
Oh,
eat the
well.
ticks on my property, which
Okay.
I'm more than
Did
happy.
you say
So that's just a
roosters
small
aren't
hole?
allowed, Ryan? Nowhere in
We started
town?
on ticks right now.
Because my neighbor's got a rooster.
807,
They,
Andrew said it would have to be taken up as a nuisance, not, he didn't say it was.
exactly. If
um,
it's a nuisance, you complain about it as a nuisance.
But roosters by themselves aren't written in as not allowed.
There's something about it. Off the top of my head, I don't
There's no
remember what
rooster
it is.
written.
No rooster.
There's no rooster in the
I
document.
think
Word
it's
search
something
says no.
else.
Male chicken?
Well, I know there's
No
an
male.
issue that he's dealing with on a rooster, so.
It was probably ours.
The word chicken doesn't even come up in here.
It says they shall confirm to any and all state health, probably change, they mean conform.
Yeah.
Right, Jan?
I would guess so, that would be a better word in this case, instead of confirm. Unless we really want the animals to swear to it. No? Okay. I would go to conform also. I'm sorry, I
They
missed-
need to bring him before the planning board.
Yeah, well, that's commented that it would say no roosters, but in this case, it doesn't specify
it
what
doesn't
kind
really
of livestock.
specify, no.
You could have hogs,
That's fine.
if you have an acre.
No, it just says livestock control, so livestock is livestock. Section 807, mobile homes. Mobile homes is a weird term now. The federal government doesn't actually use it much anymore. So I think we ought to check against the state when we specify whether we're talking about a manufactured home that never had wheels, that was not rolled to the site, came on a truck, or a mobile home was on wheels, was rolled to the site, and the wheels removed, or we're talking about an RV, which is a self-powered mobile home. I think we want to make sure that we get our definitions up to snuff.
Is there
It's
a,
interesting, because the mobile home definition in the document does not describe what you had shown earlier. It describes any modular home.
I know, and that is not true.
Right, right.
That is not accurate any longer. And if we're going to start getting people to do factory-built homes, they can't be considered, we can't consider them as mobile homes. They're not. And they have to be built to an entirely different set of standards than what used to be for mobile homes. And mobile homes carry a lot of a bad rap for the kind of people that live in there, and we don't want that moving over to manufactured homes, which is an entirely different kind of thing. And I think, if anything, I would like to see us enlarging, or not enlarging, but increasing the number of mobile home parks, traditional mobile home parks that we have in Rockport, the homes that a lot of people can afford. And
Well,
we should be.
okay, so it would appear to me that mobile home is a deprecated use term,
Yeah,
but
yes.
it doesn't change, like, we could continue calling it mobile home, we could call it anything we want, as long as what it's defining suits what it is.
Exactly. Yes, well, that's a question for section 300.
Yeah,
To
I
make
think
sure the
it
definition-
should like keep up with the times
I
to
do too.
distinguish between mobile home, a true mobile home,
Right,
which
and
is a thing at
manufactured
wheels,
home.
manufactured home, and factory-built home.
I mean, under
Modular home,
this
Modular.
definition, someone could put together a mobile home park of modular homes,
yeah.
which would be an interesting way to do a subdivision in our town.
Like eco-core homes.
Right. Right.
807, section 1. Manufactured housing has to be taken out of the section that describes mobile homes, because manufactured housing and mobile homes are two different things.
Well, it's not defined either.
It's not, well, no, but this is part of my
Yeah.
request, is to start putting in
Right.
definitions. The
Yeah.
state has some definitions, federal government has some,
Could I?
and we know what we mean.
And why does it
This
say
would be a
older
cost.
mobile homes? What?
older.
Yeah, what,
Right,
what's the point of that?
older mobile homes.
Right, but you could do a
mobile
cluster
homes. I
development
don't
with
know.
modular homes using this,
I
like,
didn't even notice that. You're right, that's pretty derogatory.
I think there's a snag or two in there.
Mhm. So it does include subdivision approval. And it would have to be placed on a pad. That's one of the snags.
Wait, does it say it has to be placed on a pad?
Yeah, it has, it's, 807.2. Each unit of housing shall be placed on a pad. So it'd be so you could do that with a modular, it's just on a slab. You could-
But why would you tell them you have to put it on a pad as opposed to on piers or a frost wall
Right,
or
right,
whatever?
right.
Why do you even say that at all? Like, each unit of housing shall be placed on a pad.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, it's gonna be placed on something.
Yeah, it's odd.
Okay.
I'm trying to find, I'm finding where I am, C2. Okay, so move to 816, plan unit development, point six,
816.6.
point six, number II, sorry, CII. Open space calculation may not include land that is under conservation easement at the time of application. And I just wrote down, why not? Why can't they count? If land is already under conservation and the point is to conserve the land,
This is the PUD one.
this is for PUDs.
Orion is the author of in some form, so
Yep,
Oh, well, okay.
yeah, be careful.
you're being.
Careful what you say.
And in general, in the PUD sections, I don't see any examples of advantages to the developers for doing these.
So you gotta remember, so this is LD 2003. That's what this is. Increased. Because we
Yes.
said, okay, state, you're making us do this, what do we really want? We're almost done with the comp plan anyway, we wanted housing, so we just took that and said, we're gonna do that, but we're also gonna do more. And then, I think the real issue with the PUD is actually not what's in it, it's actually the affordable housing provision that we're requiring, which is a 50-year long requirement, and that doesn't match up with the financing. So that's the big hiccup on why people aren't interested in that.
Oh, I see.
So we can reduce that down to 30 years. That would be something that would allow this PUD ordinance to be utilized a little bit more. But right now, that's all that people have said and why they're not interested in it.
Yeah, okay. Do you think that if banks started giving 50-year mortgages, that would increase the?
I don't know if the bank will give a 50-year mortgage.
Well, they
but-
do in Japan all the time.
No, there's been talk of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, with the cost of housing,
Right.
if a garage is a $500,000 house now,
Yeah,
50 years makes more sense.
yeah, the bank makes more money.
Then the bank makes more money. Yeah.
Which is probably why it will happen.
Okay, that's that. Then there was, okay, so the next thing was maximum heights, which we've done.
Which section are you on?
Well, it was just, I can't remember where it was. I just wrote down
Launched
zoning
over
height,
it
this
because
was in the
we've already
800s.
talked about it.
How far along
We've
are
already
we?
done zoning height.
Okay.
16 more
910.3
pages.
That much.
is where I'm going to. 910.3.
910, I would recommend not getting
You better
involved
what?
in. Section 910,
Yeah,
I wouldn't get involved in it.
fine. I'm fine. Section 1000, pitched roofs, we've talked about that. So a question. Question 1000, it says that these are standards for commercial buildings. And section 300 definitions, commercial buildings excluding residential. So the standards in section 1000 do not apply to single-family homes?
Just take a look real quick. Come on.
What section are we talking about?
This is Section 1000
Performance standards.
No.
The applicability and of purpose says that this is for all commercial properties. And
Well,
somewhere
the
I thought
applicability and purpose of Section 1000 is
So
for
this is not, this
commercial
does not
properties.
include residential homes,
Correct.
or family homes. Okay.
And by performance standards, we're talking about what it looks like?
Yeah, this is your landscape, your area landscape regulations, your landscape
Performance
plan.
standards and normal, it's like building performance, but.
Section, go back to section 800, I'm sorry, on my border.
How come we keep jumping back and forth?
Oh, I'm sorry. You should live in my head. You would understand it better.
Home solar,
Something about home solar. It's in here someplace.
you can have a home solar.
You can have a home solar, well, it says you can't have a solar farm.
You
Other than
can't.
that, there are no rules.
You can, as long as it's hooked up to your home.
Mhm.
Okay. It could be
house just
freestanding.
died.
it doesn't have to be on-
It can be massive,
I've only been
That's
here
fine.
5
as long as your
hours.
home is also tied to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, not feed y'all again.
no, don't need that, don't need that. Don't need that.
Well, most
Some of these things
died.
I've answered for myself afterwards.
Well, most
Oh, I think a
died.
rental use should be defined as a commercial use in all the land
Most
use
of them, the
ordinances,
only one that
Done.
died.
except for ADUs.
That's what
That's
we,
done.
Is that done?
well,
That's what we're doing.
that's what we're looking at.
Okay. Oh, I'll give you another thing. Section 1300. This is where.
1302,
1300,
Thir-
1302, planning board.
lemmings,
Um,
it's lemmings.
Okay, 1302, I think we should quicken up the meetings. I wrote, planning board should act at the next scheduled meeting after the application, not 60 days after, which could mean missing a meeting or two.
Yeah, but then we'd be in trouble tonight.
Yeah, no, that allows time for us to draft up the findings of facts and conclusions of law.
Ah.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
I call the Ryan on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you think that though, Jan? I'm curious.
Just trying to shorten the time frame for people coming to us.
So that doesn't stall them. That doesn't stall them. So once they get their planning board approval, that's all they need.
Okay.
And they can go get their building permit, they can go. Findings, facts, conclusions of law is really what's gonna carry. If anybody wants to appeal anything, they're gonna need that. So,
Commercial, section 3, 1303.4. I don't know where this is in here. It's not enough for me to worry about. Thank you, I'm done.
All right. Who else has land use ordinance changes they'd like to make?
no?
Tom?
Okay.
Jeff, I just had a question about some stuff that was brought up
Yep.
earlier today, that we really didn't address. For example, perhaps a board, a housing board and those type of things. Not that we have to address them tonight, but, and I don't think some of that stuff requires anything on the ballot, or do they?
A housing
The
committee.
action for it wouldn't follow this timeline that we could get nothing that housing task force would do would get on the November ballot.
No, I understand that, but to form
Creation,
one,
right.
the Board of Selectmen can do that
Yeah,
on their own with our recommendation. There's
Right.
no need to get it on the ballot.
the town doesn't need to vote on
Because
that.
some of those ideas, even the stuff that John brought up in terms of what Rockland did with the bond and investigating some of that, sounded like great ideas.
Yeah. Okay. So there were a bunch of, I should ask everyone. Carter, do you have any land use ordinance recommendation changes?
I don't, my only
Chad?
statement would be simply that, I think that working on the things like short-term rental understanding, working on the sort of the broader picture of understanding what we're doing is paramount, and that the small changes that you've so far suggested seem great in terms of making a few things little corners a little softer, perfect, and then figuring out really what's happening as we go along is great.
Yeah. Okay. Jan left. Does anyone else want to take a break right now? Jan is taking a break for us.
I think
so.
your buddy.
Okay, well, I'll just say this, and I don't think it'll matter for the record if Jan was in the room or not. So Jan had a bunch of ordinance change recommendations. I had some. The ones that I put forth, I'm happy to make a motion for us to vote on. I think we've recorded some of the things in parking. But let me start with building height. So can you pull up the ordinance just so that we can look at it while I make my motion? Okay, so I would move that we recommend to the select board to change table 918 such that all zones listed in the general dimension requirements show a maximum building height of 42 feet in place of what it currently says is 34, and also to remove the note at the bottom of the table regarding building heights and roof pitches. That's my motion.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Carter. Any further discussion on that? Any changes you want to consider? Peter?
No, you had a second, right?
We have a motion and a second.
So I'm fine
Okay,
with
and
that.
I'm just asking any further discussion. Tom, any further discussion?
No, I don't think so.
Jan? Okay, Carter? All right. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you.
Jeff, is it clear where you're gonna measure building height from?
Average.
Yeah, we have a definition that says
Okay.
average grade.
Okay.
Okay, so for parking, I think we landed on that we didn't need to change anything in the text of parking except for at the top. Can you go to the parking 803.1,
Yes.
just above the table? Okay, we wanted to replace a word here, so the following table specifies the minimum number of parking spaces to be provided. So
Specifies to suggest.
suggests the minimum number of parking spaces to be provided.
Yes.
Okay. I'll make the motion just for clarity. I move that we recommend to the select board to change the land use ordinance 803.1.d. Is that correct, Orlin? 803.1D.
803.1D.
Yeah, to replace the word specifies with suggests.
Second.
Thank you, Jan. Any further discussion? All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you.
Sorry, who made that motion?
I did.
And then who seconded?
Jan.
Thanks.
Okay, and the third one was for rental units.
Mhm.
So we have the text. We made a little change to it. I think you made that while we were talking, right?
Yes.
I think you just adjusted the name of it,
Purpose,
right?
yep.
Yeah.
The name and the purpose. So those are the two things that have changed.
So what is the formal name?
You made it.
It's just rental housing unit, and I put parentheses, life safety.
Oh.
Section 819 rental, so rental housing unit is a defined term
Mm-hmm,
in our ordinance, right?
mm-hmm.
I mean, the cleanest thing would be to just call it rental housing units, because that's what is consistent with everything
Yep.
else in chapter 800,
Yeah,
and not have life safety be there, John, just because that's how they all are. They don't specify in the title
no, that's
what it's
true.
about. It's in the purpose where it's talked about. I think changing the purpose was a good move.
Industrial standards. What we
I
got?
still don't like that language.
Environmental.
The purpose?
No.
All right, good. Put it in your words, Tom, but put it in
Why can't we just say to ensure the health and safety of the occupants of rental housing units?
I
Works
like
for
that.
me.
I like that better.
Yeah.
Fewer words is more succinct. Okay, so that is the only change we made tonight. We called it units as opposed to unit in the title, but that's the only change there. And then we changed the purpose to make it more succinct. Everything else from there down, we didn't change from the last time the select board had this. Is that right, Orion?
Correct.
Okay. So I would move that we recommend to the select board the changes to the land use ordinance to add section 819 rental housing units as discussed and recorded here tonight. Period.
Second.
Thank you, Jan. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. I had one more minor change, and I don't think we need to recommend that to the select board, but it's your call, Orion, which was to get rid of the commercial residential distinction in the table, because it's the same number. Like,
Talking about right there?
yeah, I think that's just a
Yeah,
housekeeping
no,
thing.
that's a housekeeping.
So that was it for me. Jan, did you have things on your list that you wanted to make motions to change? And the reason I wanted to make these three is that they were directly connected to our discussions in the workshop to get onto the ballot in November.
Yeah, most of what I have was either housekeeping things, which can wait, we can put them in a better form. I'll go through and figure out, but there's nothing here that has to be done
By November.
I'd rather keep the ballot clean as possible.
Okay, and we can discuss these further at
We're going to. yeah,
every
sure.
meeting we have.
Yeah.
All right. How about this? Because this one has been bugging me. It's the Watt Mercury light. So in that section, the lighting, I would like that to just go ahead and change to the 10,000 lumens, if that's okay
Yes,
with y'all.
That's an easy one.
And the residential section, so the 7D changing from multifamily to residential.
Great. I'll move those two changes be included.
Do y'all remember that?
Can you at least flip to the section
pull
so
it
that
up.
we can
Which,
record the motion?
are we talking about the
cleanly?
lighting still?
Yeah.
So including the residential in the lighting ordinance?
That is.
No, it's 210.
What is it, 803? What?
Yeah.
Right there. Okay, so to change this, then.
So it says lighting with a lumen output equal or greater than a 200 watt mercury light. So shouldn't it say,
You change it from watts to lumens, is that what
Yeah,
you're-
under 10,000, it should be no more than 10,000 lumens.
lighting with a lumen output equal or greater than 10,000 lumens
Should not be.
shall
directed.
not be directed.
Right, because a
And cross
200
out
watt,
light as well.
200 watt LED would be insane.
And then this residential here.
And that has to go.
Could you get rid of multifamily housing and just write residential?
Yeah.
Does that turn it into a ballot issue?
This?
Yeah.
Yes. It would be categorized as cleanup. It's not like a standalone question of, shall we change this one thing?
Yeah.
Or are there penalties associated with this?
Yeah.
If someone is in, yes.
So those are the motions that, or those are the changes that Jan had discussed. Orion said that
Yeah.
he'd like to get for November. So we should have a motion, a second, and a discussion about these.
I'll move that we change the 10,000, 200 watt mercury light to 10,000, less than 10,000 lumens, and that we change multifamily to residential.
Yeah. Instead of saying lighting with a lumen output equal to or greater than 10,000, Why not just say lighting with an
Output
output
equal or
greater?
greater, right.
You don't need lumen twice.
Yes,
Good point.
absolutely.
With an output, AN.
Right.
There you go.
Yes. Thanks, Sam.
Also, the sentence reads a little bit weird at the end there. Should not be directed toward the sky or adjacent to properties. To adjacent properties? Should not be
Yeah,
directed
yeah.
toward the sky or
Correct.
to adjacent properties.
The,
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, what?
Or
it could- or
directed
you
toward
could
the
just say
sky
toward
or
the sky
adjacent.
or adjacent properties.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that, okay, so I think that changes, no, it doesn't change what said there before, but
Mhm.
that's
Actually,
that's housekeeping.
I feel like that's problematic, because, I mean, toward adjacent properties, what if the next property is like 2 miles away? Like, that's
That's a good
toward
point.
it.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a full sky cutoff fixture, but it's aiming that way, like, it's gotta go, you know what I mean? Like, it's gotta go sideways somehow. Like, it can't be straight down and
Well,
nowhere else.
the following thing describes it must be straight down.
Right, but the light
DI.
from the lumens that come out of a light do not just go straight down. They go sideways as
Right.
well.
Right.
Yeah, but directed towards, like it's gonna do its thing.
Because that's a bright light.
Yeah.
Too. It's like, and that's an especially bright light should not be directed toward adjacent properties.
Yeah.
I feel like the adjacent properties though is less of a concern because you can't exceed a certain lumen at the property line anyway. It's like, do you really need the adjacent properties?
Well, the light falls off at the ratio of a quarter.
How about nearby?
Yeah.
How about adding nearby?
Fine, just change it to or, adjacent properties, not adjacent to properties.
Or toward the sky?
I'll retract
or-
my objection.
Or
Okay.
nearby adjacent properties?
No, I'm fine.
No,
Okay,
by-
and the
by-
next
by
one-
definition, adjacent is small. No, it's not true. Never mind.
The next.
Adjacent could be a mile away.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. The next one was changing multifamily housing to residential, and Carter, you had brought up like, well, that's now my neighbor, and that's
Mhm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have a
I
par,
personally think it could
par
be a
light
ca-
fixture that's just on a little stem, like it's not
It does.
necessarily dark sky compliant.
It could open a can of worms.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this actually helped with a couple of complaints that have come in. Like there are some people that, they're just getting blasted.
Yeah.
Hey, bud, can you stop? That's all we can really do, so.
And so even though I think it could open a can of worms, I do actually agree with changing it. I'm a dark sky
Yeah.
fan as well.
And I think to where Jan was coming from, why should we distinguish between multifamily? Like, if you have a duplex, you
Right.
can't do it, but if you live by yourself, you
Yeah.
can.
Right.
No, I'm in favor of controlling all outside lights.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, my lights aren't on very often.
Okay, so Jan, do you want to restate this because we've changed some of the things? And Ryan,
Um,
can you scroll up a little bit so we
Do
can
I
see
need
it?
to, well, have to cover both of these changes at the same time?
It sounds like people are going to say okay, so I don't think we need separate
Okay.
motions. There's just the two,
801,
Ryan.
801, 7.
From Ryan Wentworth.
Just those two on the same page.
There we go,
Yep.
right there, okay. So I move that we change the.
We, recommend.
Point A,
You move, we
under
recommend,
lighting.
you move we recommend to the select
I
board.
recommend to the I move that we recommend to the select board change point A under lighting to read, lighting with an output equal to or greater than 10,000 lumens shall not be directed toward the sky or adjacent properties. And I move that we recommend to the select board that under lighting in item D, we change the term multifamily housing to residential.
Thank you. I'll second that. Any further discussion? All those in
Why
favor?
did they go for, okay,
Is that, you raised your hand like?
yes.
Okay, 500.
Why is in II, why does it change to foot candles rather than?
Well, lumens is output.
Yeah.
Foot candles is measured.
Is how much light falls on a
How much the light
surface.
falls on a square,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
A light can project lots of lumens, but if it's dispersed, then there'll be less foot candles for every piece that it falls on.
We're
If it's
basically-
focused,
we're
it'll
basically
all be in
counting-
one spot.
Counting
I don't
photons.
understand that at all.
You're basically counting photons.
I got it, okay.
Counting photons, yeah.
And then the one other item, because we're changing the building height in the ZBA, the variance, those numbers, we should go ahead and,
Eliminate them.
Yep.
Yeah.
and so that's what the recommendation would be. So for granting approval of the side or rear setback variance, that is less than what is described in the land use table, I think is what we should do.
Well, I had just, I had marked up Jan's changes document. Oh, wait, is this the same one?
That's it.
Is it,
Where'd you put it? Right there? Nope, nope. Right there. Setback variance, oh, okay, just get rid of 15 feet.
see more? Yeah, just get rid,
Okay.
or height variance, I mean, it's understood that it's in the ordinance. So, I mean, I can make the motion since I made the text.
Yep.
So I move we recommend to the select board changing the text in section 703.4 to read, before granting approval of a side or rear yard setback variance or height variance, the ZBA shall obtain a written statement from the fire chief concerning the effect of the proposed variance of fire safety.
I'll second that.
I'll second
Or
that.
whatever. Yep.
Okay, I moved, I heard Carter first, so I'm going to take his second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of this change? Recommendation, 500.
Okay.
Okay. So I
Now-
think,
Can I
Yeah, go ahead.
just a question? The side or rear yard setback, why has that, you mean that could be like proximity to another structure or something?
yeah.
Which is why you'd want to check with the fire department? Okay.
For life safety, yeah.
yep. So it doesn't say front yard because that's assumed to be a road,
Yeah,
which they have access to.
okay. But it's proximity to another structure.
Yeah, it's to a property line, which might have another structure right on it. Yeah.
So are you thinking you're wrapping up the, so, some other points that were raised were, and I'm not sure if this is anything that would require an ordinance change, Orion, but the notion of having staff have more
It would be.
authority to admin review, where would we find that part of the ordinance?
That
to-
would, well, so it would be in 1300. So 1300 has an applicability in that, and what I'm thinking of is creating a section in addition to. So it's like, planning board goes from this point on, in between is this level of staff review, and then below that is just code enforcement officer. But I
So-
think that can all exist within 1300.
Okay, do you have a sense of where is an appropriate place to park?
Not exactly yet.
All right, but you're going to follow up on that, or that's not going to be part of this next round of?
I don't know if that should happen just yet with the
Okay.
upcoming change with me.
Okay,
I think the next person should get settled in, and then maybe that's June. Right now, we also don't have anybody that's kind of on the cusp. Like, everybody that's on the cusp is just it's just clarity, conversation between Andrew and myself on what it means.
okay. I mean, that's fine, I just don't want to lose the idea.
Yeah, no, I don't think the idea is going to get lost. No.
Okay, then we had a lot of conversations about density caps, eliminating them altogether. Minimum lot size, where sewer is available, did we have any thoughts along those lines, or we don't want to deal with it?
My recommendation is that everything we have right now, we're very dense on allotment, like what you can achieve.
Okay,
We've had limited sort of time between the last time we did that to now,
Yeah,
to know like, well, we did reduce the lot size requirement and the setbacks and all of that. And not much time has passed, so we haven't seen the effects of it yet. So I'm
Well, I'm
loath
gonna-
to
I'm
like
gonna-
just kind of press like
Yeah.
booster mode on this because
Yeah.
it's like we don't, Like,
And,
hold on.
and with the developers I'm talking to right now, they're appreciative that we reduce it down and they don't have that number issue anymore. They're now like, well, that's too much. I actually can't make that work with this site. So they're not even hitting that number right now. So I think right now we're fine. Density wise, I don't think that's the issue. The building height, that's the issue. So I think, and no one's asking for 6 stories. I told him, like, one guy asked if he potentially could. I said, you're gonna get chased out of town if you try. So don't try it. So, yeah, no, 1 extra story, which is congruent with what the state's already allowing with other things, and as we've heard in the workshops, an additional story helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be fine with that.
Okay.
I will point out, and, you know, it's something we should be aware of at least, is that our front yard setback
Yeah.
is 10 feet.
Yeah.
Our definition defines setback not from property line, but from pavement, edge of pavement. So, for example, I live on Union Street, and my property line is sort of within my front yard,
Yeah.
but I can build up to 10 feet from the edge of pavement, which means 10 feet from the edge of pavement, I'm on the sidewalk side, I can basically build on the sidewalk
Yeah.
by right.
That should be
So
looked at.
that 10-foot setback, we may assume to be like, well, that's from, you know, some point back. No, that's from the road.
Yep.
So 10 feet from the road is pretty close.
So you could build on your property line.
I can build on
Yeah,
my
it might
property.
even not, the property line might be.
I can't
further
build
back
off
than
my
that.
property.
I'm not
I
even
can't build
sure.
on town
You may
land,
be-
but
you
I
may be
can-
building off the property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that varies. I've looked at, it varies a lot.
Well,
So
Well,
that's the thing with
It's
it.
10 feet across the line here. 10 feet is
No, I'm
the
saying
front
that
yard.
how far back your property
Right.
line is from the
From the road.
concrete or whatever is,
Yeah.
is variable.
Yeah.
yeah. And there's been, when we had the ordinance review committee at that point in time, they were also, what should we do with this? So it's been a conundrum for a while. Because there's some properties, their property line isn't even 10 feet, like it's further back. It's
Mhm.
like 10 feet from the edge of pavement, it doesn't work.
Right.
So what are they gonna go off of?
Yeah. Some places do center line of road,
Yep.
and they have a larger number.
Mhm.
But then the road gets widened, or the right-of-way is bigger, then it's like,
Right. I think it should move to property line,
yeah,
but then you get those situations where, you know, the right of way is large.
yeah.
And, you know, there's a large swath of grass in between the pavement and your property line, and then what?
Well, as a
Then they're
discussion.
further back.
Mhm.
Then you, as a discussion, you start out to step even further back and say, well, what is the 10-foot setback for? Period.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
And is it for safety purposes? Probably
Visibility.
not. Visibility, maybe not, maybe. And so.
Cars crashing into your front yard.
Right.
I mean, your living
Like
room.
there was, a couple meetings ago, they were doing some work down by Clam Cove Street, and the street's gonna go right up to the edge of her house. So, is that, you know, that question needs to be resolved, and then we can talk about where it sits on the property line.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't think the street's actually gonna go right up to her house. I think it could.
Right, well, her property line, her house is on her property line, essentially,
Yeah,
currently. So
yeah,
the
the
street
front,
could go.
the front step of the
And their
house.
plan, the town's plan was basically to widen it almost to her house.
Are you sure about that? I think it was more, they did the dig safes
Right.
flags.
And it
That-
showed, right.
But that's
What are you
not where,
talking about?
that's
Which street?
The
Warrenton.
Clam Cove that goes.
Oh,
over
the
to-
Warrenton Street?
Yeah, they weren't gonna do the actual
Well,
street.
yeah, I'm just citing it as an example of someone's property or house is already right up on their
Yeah, but
property line.
a little bit of, just because if somebody's watching this meeting
Right.
here, you know, that's a misunderstanding
Right.
of what was actually
Right.
done.
So the only other thing I'm gonna ask you to do, is just housekeeping item, is just issue a continuance for land use related amendments or ordinance amendments. That way, if we miss something next month, we can just plug it in real quick and we'll be okay, timeline wise.
Okay. I mean, just as a way of notifying the public in this meeting, 'cause this is a public meeting, I can just say that we're going to have a continuation of this land use ordinance discussion at next month's meeting.
Sure.
Right.
Yes.
Undoubtedly.
There you
And from here on out.
Jeff, do you want us to now go through the subdivision ordinance and look for changes, or have we just done that close enough that
Ooh.
there may not be any?
Subdivision,
We did a pretty hefty overhaul on
Yeah.
that.
We did.
we did
I'd
that.
leave that alone for a minute.
Yeah, just for a little bit.
Yeah, and if you see something that's, a spelling error, just bring that to the department's attention.
Yeah.
That's something we can just take care of, but, yeah.
Okay. Any other business? I just have one thing to mention. We still do have one permanent seat available on the planning board, and we have 2 alternate seats available on the planning board, just for public awareness. And that's it.
Okay.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll move, we adjourn.
Is there a second? Peter, thank you. All those in favor?
Discuss it.
You cannot. All those in favor?
There's no discussion for that. You know
1,
this.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Tom's
Thank you.
not
It's
gonna vote.
unanimous. Okay, so
Adjourn.
8:16 we
Yeah.
adjourn. Thank you very much.